When I look at the old film, it certainly reminds me of what the village was like. Very poor. Poor from the point of view of people not having many material things, but having a great community.
So there were hard times, and there were hard times to bring up children. We'd a lot of children in our house, so there were hard times. But you know, everybody was in the same boat, you know.
Blessed with nature's richest gifts, twin Phoenix Park, and Liffey. Its beauty's now is shall unfold. If you will wait for just a jiffy, hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
My first experience of hearing of Father Rogers was, I think it was about his first or second week in the village, and Gamble's buildings, there were people there and they were being evicted. And the word come through that Father Rogers had gone to the corporation and got a stay of execution on the eviction because they were elderly people and they didn't want to go to Ballyfermot. They didn't want to leave their own environment where they lived all their lives, you know. And I suppose that cemented Father Rogers in the history of the village, you know. But he was a marvellous, marvellous man.
I had very fond memories of him, and I remember him filming, particularly on groups of people going off to the seaside on a Sunday morning. There'd be a couple of double-decker buses. They would have been organised by Paddy Gorey, who was very active in the village at the time.
I was very happy as a child.
And you went to Chapel Lizzie School as well?
Went to Chapel Lizzie, the little red brick school, which unfortunately is gone. Inside wasn't that great, it was just partitions for the classrooms. There were just 4 downstairs and 4 upstairs for the boys. But the red brick was lovely, and why they didn't keep that and use it building the new school, I don't know. So our fun was always outside in hail, rain or snow. We were always out on the river or up in the park or running around. And we were more free, but we had great fun. The village was safer. The other thing is there wasn't many cars. Very few people had a car.
I remember my mother, you know, we'd be playing out on the road, but the traffic was so scarce. You could hear the siren going in the Inchicore works telling the men to finish work, and it went at 5:15. And she'd say when we'd be going out to play, now when you hear the siren, move in off the road because the men will be going home from work on their bicycles. And that was, you know, the traffic now, you couldn't cross the road hardly to throw bread to the ducks and the birds on the river, the swans, you know.
The Phoenix Park was our playground as well as the river. How we didn't drown, I don't know. We were always down on the river and the weir. But the park was wonderful all seasons because children didn't have many toys back then. So we just made our own fun, and there was always something going on in the park. Like in the winter it was the snow and you'd toboggan down the hill, and in the summer you just run around, all kinds of games. We used to play rounders up on the top road.
Architecture. So if you look at village now, and you look at it 100 years ago, you have the largest collection of photographs. If you look at that collection of photographs, you will see that the north side of the village is still exactly the same as it was 100 years ago. So if you dropped a person that was alive back 100 years ago into the village now, they'd still recognise Chapel Lizzie as the village it was then. The old part of Chapel Lizzie, the north side of the village square, that has remained the same as it was when I was a child. I've seen Corpus Christi procession photographs set in the square. The southern side of the village is completely changed with the exception of where the band room is. So the band room and the house next to it, which we call McHenry's house, that remained the same. It is absolutely a country village. We are blessed insofar as we've the Phoenix Park. And the Phoenix Park has isolated us from any type of building to the north. There's a decree by the British government going back 150 years that the land coming down to Chapel Lizard couldn't be built on. That had to be kept open. So unless some developers come along and pay big money to somebody to change that, the city can't grow out as far as Chapel Lizard. We can't be swallowed. So that means that we still retain the image coming from the city.
Religion was very important back then. Oh, the Corpus Christi, I mean, it was just such a big thing. Everybody put an altar outside their own door, and the procession would start from the church, come right down, and then there would be the whole big service down in the square. There was nothing there. We could all be there, and no cars or anything blocking it up. So, and all the children were dressed in their first communion clothes, and the whole thing was a big celebration of Corpus Christi.
Young people, they need to get together. They need to be in clubs, and there needs to be guidance from their parents. We did start a youth club in Chapel Lizard in the band room, and the band room was reconditioned, but no parents came forward to supervise the youth club. It's
a community that is fairly strong. The village is very friendly. That's the difference compared to other places.
For example, if you look at Lucan Village, it's a commercial unit now. It's no longer a village. There's no one living in the heart of it. Tala Village, it's gone. It's lost. If you look at Rathmines Village, it's not a village anymore. Smithfield Village, which is designated by Dublin City Council as a very important area, it's not really a village in the urban sense. We do have a village here in Chapel Lizard, and I think it's very important to retain those particular aspects of it. I think one of the big challenges in the future for Chapel Lizard is the Ryan's houses. If someone comes along and buys all those houses, the Ryan estate, and just allows development to go in there nilly-willy without a big plan for those, because there's about, I'd say in total, something in the region of 30 houses that would include a lot of small houses and larger houses. If they were suddenly developed in a commercial way, then that would destroy the village. It would be no longer a living village. But as I say, it's not, the important thing about the village is not the wealth that you see around the village, it's the people, it's the community people. If you take our festival started up now 15 years ago, and that has been running and it's getting stronger and stronger every year. That's absolutely brilliant. We need a big community hall. The Scouts Den site would have been ideal. So we don't have that. And we do need to get something going on that magnitude to accommodate larger things happening in the village.
I love being back. I still feel the essence of the village.
When I was growing up, I grew up at the end of New Row, 33 would have been 33 New Row, but it's actually 33 Main Street. There would have been 30 odd children in New Row at that time. There was enough for a football team, there was enough for a pipe band. We were very self-sufficient from the point of view there was a lot of children. We had a look at the census of 1911, so that's a long time, nearly 100 years ago, and there was 8 families in New Row at that time who are still living there at this moment. So from a sense of community, out of the 32 houses there, still 8 families are the same families that were there then. That's absolutely incredible.
Sure, it's over, Molly, over, can't you see? Where the strawberry beds sweep down to the Liffey, you kiss away the worries from my brow.
It's a different world. Things have changed.
And I love you more tomorrow. If you ever loved me, Molly, love me now. Well, now I'll tend the yard, and I'll spend me days in talking, and I'll hear them whisper Charlie's on the dole. But Molly, we're still living, and darling, we're still young, and that liver never owned me heart and soul. Where the strawberry beds sweep down to the Liffey, you'll kiss away the worries from my